Hey everybody, we're going to get started here in about 2 minutes. I'm just trying to check everything, make sure that we're up and running. If you are able to hear and see me, that's awesome. That means things are working. And I am trying to do everything in the hopes of making sure everything is hunky-dory and working. So we will get started here momentarily. Hey everybody, we're going to get started here in about 2 minutes. I just checked my iPad to make sure that it was working on there, and it looks like it is, so hopefully everybody else is having luck with that. And if hopefully they know how to refresh their screen. That's the most important thing I can tell you, is just refresh your screen and then hit the button and start. I'm going to leave a little message here, and then we'll get started. Oh, I guess we still have a little bit of time here. I didn't realize how early I was. I'm hoping that those of you who are on your iPhones and your iPads are able to get this. It looks like to me like I am getting it on my iPad. I haven't checked my iPhone, but I'm assuming if it's on my iPad, it's on my iPhone too. But so anyway, okay, well, it's 7 o'clock, so we're going to get started. I don't want to keep everybody's time. If you're out there, go ahead and say hello in the chat box on Facebook. And if you're not, bummer I missed you. But this is being taped, so anything that happens tonight, you can actually watch it later when we're done, when I'm done taping here. So if you want to go ahead and refresh your screens, that would be great. I'm still just checking to see if I have people out there. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. I did have somebody today ask me a question about the Hostess code. It seems to be kind of confusing as what to do with the Hostess code and where to put it. And so I'm just going to do a little quick, fast overview of exactly what to do with the Hostess code if you have one. And if you have other questions, go ahead and place them right down there in the chat box, and I will answer them. And if you're actually watching this later on YouTube, you can put it into the comments, and I'll keep tabs on those. So welcome, and the first thing I'm just going to show real quickly, because this was one of the questions somebody just recently asked me, was the Hostess code. When you're doing the virtual workshop, where do you put the Hostess code? And so I'm going to do a little screen share here, and hope it all works. Start your screen share. Okay, so what you're looking at right now is the online store for Stampin' Up. And if you decide to place an order, and I'm just going to actually go real quickly and pick out an item. I'll pick out this item, and I'm going to add it to my shopping bag. And I can either, that screen came up, I'll do it again. Screen comes up to either continue shopping or to view your shopping bag. If you have more items to do, you can just go ahead and click continue shopping, and then head up here. You can also put in the number of whatever it is that you want, if you know what the item number is, and that will pop it up right into your shopping cart. So that's just a really easy way to do it. You can pop your numbers up into here, search the store, or you can go underneath different product items, and you can also just search for a certain item. So if I was looking for these, I'd look under apothecary and framelits or bundle, and that would come up. Once I've got my stuff in my shopping cart and I'm done, if I want, some people, this is where the big mistake happens. If you go directly to checkout, there's no place to put the Hostess code. But if you hit shopping bag, this is here, right down here at the bottom where it says Hostess code. Click here and enter it. You enter the code into here and you hit apply. And then you can go check out. And I know that's really confusing, but that's the biggest problem there. I do have a way as a demonstrator. I can call in to Stampin' Up. And if you forget to put the Hostess code in, you just have to let me know, and I can have them add it to it. The Hostess code works for me because it tells me exactly who has voted, who has ordered, and it helps me keep track. I keep a spreadsheet of everybody that's in the club that places an order so that I can track your 6 months worth of orders and then get your free stuff to you. So it is important that the Hostess code gets attached, so because it helps me stay organized, and honest to gosh, I need all the help I can get. Okay, so for the rest of tonight, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them down in the comment section. If you can't add a comment, some people won't be able to if you're not on Facebook. You can always email me, or afterwards, if you're watching this on YouTube, you could go ahead and put a comment in the comment box. But we're going to go ahead and get started, and come back to, there we go. Hi. I just wanted to talk a few things. I've got some samples back here on my board. This is the Blended Bloom stamp set. I'm going to actually show a video tonight showing this stamp. This is one of my favorite stamps in the catalog. And I'm going to show a video tonight that I did as my demonstration with that set. It's really a cool, it's a cool video, or it's a cool technique. So if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in there and let's get them answered. Otherwise, I am going to go ahead and get started. And so to begin with, I'm going to pop in a video. Let me see if I can get this done. The first video that I have is actually uses the Flower Patch stamp set, and it talks a little bit about the clear photopolymer stamp set Stampin' Up! Has. And it's kind of it's a great technique. This video's been up on YouTube for about it's been up for about a week. But I wanted you to see this because I just have some tips in there on using our photopolymer stamps. So we will get started now. Hey Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and today I'm going to teach you or show you how I made this card. It's actually very, very, very simple, but I love the depth of it and how it looks. This is actually like a 2-step stamp set is what they call it, but you can go all the way up to 3. This was the set in the catalog that caught my eye the most this year. It is called Flower Patch. It's awesome. These images are just actually shown very small. It says 70% of the real size, but you can see on the back here, I hope you can see that without the glare, but these images are rather large. And this is a photopolymer set, which means it's just your clear rubber. So you can tell that I used this one in a red color because it stained it a little bit pink, but it doesn't change how the stamps look as far as inking them up. It's not going to get inked red ink into my yellow pad if I went that route. But I'm just using a piece of Stampin' Up's Whisper White cardstock and some Calypso Coral ink, and I'm just going to ink this up. And once I do that, on this particular stamp, I'm going to stamp off. So I'm going to stamp it off here, then bring it back to my project and stamp it onto my cardstock. One of the things I like is that you can actually see if through that clear block exactly where you're going to stamp. You can also see if the ink has if the stamp is completely pressed down, you can watch it kind of move across the paper. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and add this one. And I could add this to the back of my block, so I'm using them both, or I can just pull this off. I'll pull it off now so you can actually see what I'm looking at. But I'm going to ink this one up, and this time I'm not going to stamp off. I'm just going to ink it up. And then I can see exactly where I'm stamping. And it's stamped down. And you can see how you get the layered images. I love 2-step stamping. I always have. And I love these big decorative stamp sets. They're a lot of fun to work with. And so there was my first image. And then I'm going to come in with this little 5-petal flower and ink this one up. This one's getting inked up in So Saffron. And again, I'm going to stamp it off and then stamp it on my project. And then come in with another layer, and there's all kinds of layers that you could put in there. I'll use this one here. This one's going to get inked, and this one's going to get inked full strength, and I can see exactly where I'm stamping. And I'm going to stamp down, and then you can see where I'm getting those images that are layering. And then a little leaf, and there's a bunch of leaves in this one. and some wild wasabi. And again, I'm going to stamp off. And then, nice thing you can see about this is you can see exactly where your placement of your leaf is going to be. And I'm just inking it off because I thought the wild wasabi was just a little too bold for this particular card. So quick, you can see how quick those are, and a lot of fun to stamp with. And then I'm going to take one of the sets in here, the saying series. Put this on here. Oh, you know what? I didn't want to ink it up in green. Oh well, we are now. I'm going to ink this up in green. And there you have it. Now, if I wanted to, I could actually even do a third layer by just coming in with another stamp, inking that up. I don't know how much it'll show with the coral on the coral, but let's try it. Oh yeah. And then what I did with this is I actually added it onto a card base. Okay, so because I had stamped this one in the wild wasabi, I had to go cut myself another piece of cardstock because I was going to put this on Pool Party with some Pool Party ink, but I think the wild wasabi is going to be beautiful too. So I just have a sheet of 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. And I'll put all the measurements up on my website with pictures and instructions so that you can have them. That's going to be my base, but before that I'm going to use some of this new, oh my gosh, this is awesome. This is the seam binding in wild wasabi. Isn't that just fabulous, gorgeous looking? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around on this card, and one of the things that I've learned about ribbon is if you want to tie a bow, you need 4 lengths, 2, 3, 4 lengths of your card. If you're going to tie a knot, just 3 lengths, and that should give you more than enough ribbon. Come around here. Tie the bow. Beautiful. I just love the shimmer of this ribbon. It's beautiful. Probably could have got a little more snug, but that's all right. I'm going to actually move my ribbon now so it's like right under my words that I stamped. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around on this side. I'm going to add some snail. And I'm just going to add a little bit more here just to make sure that that sticks to where that ribbon is. And place this on my card. And then trim off my edges so that my ribbon's beautiful. And then come in and just add a couple of rhinestones to my flowers. And the last thing that I would do is I would take another sheet. This is actually another sheet of cardstock. It's the same layer as this one, and it's 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to come in with, change out these clear stamps. Got that. Put this in the middle. And a couple of leaves. Maybe a couple. Oops. Here's a nice thing about clear stamps. So I missed it there. If I just go back in, I can line it right back up and press and get it right on exactly where I need it. And then I'm going to add a little adhesive into the inside of my card. And then, of course, I'm going to come in with the envelope. And actually, I'm just going to do the same flower on my envelope. And then up on the back. Come in with a leaf. Or 2. Oh, what the heck. And there you have it. There's a nice little combination card with the envelope that matches. And I love this ribbon. But if you're interested, check out my website. That's where you'll find all the measurements for this card and all the products used. And don't forget to... Okay, so there is project number 1. I hope that everybody could see it. According to my iPad and according to my computer, it looked like things were working just great. I hope that's true. If you're having some issues, if you go ahead and put a comment down in the on Facebook in the comment area there where you're watching this video, that will tell me if anybody's having issues. I can kind of troubleshoot, but probably not a whole lot that I could do differently at this point. I've worked really hard at trying to make sure I could get this to as many people as possible with the devices that people like to use. So if you have questions, feel free to comment. I am keeping tabs on the comment section just to watch it and see if there's anybody's putting things down there that they need answers to. I'd love to help you out. But I do have a couple more videos, and these are videos that have not been seen before. I just actually taped them recently, and I did it specifically for tonight. So I'm looking forward to sharing some of these other videos with you. And as soon as I can make sure that I've got this up and going the way it's supposed to be, we will do it. Oh, this next card. This is a fun card. This was a card that this technique is great. This is fabulous. This was fun. And this is one of those techniques that, the one I was telling you about a little bit before we got started, about using this blended bloom stamp. These were actually done with the blendabilities, which won't be available till July or August. But I love the stamp so much, and this technique is fabulous with it, and I think you're going to love how easy it is, and it works with anything. It's an embossing resist technique, and I hope you enjoy this video. If you have questions, feel free to ask them while we're going here. Hi Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and today I'm going to teach you how to do this technique on this stamp called Blended Bloom. It's a resist emboss technique, and it's really, actually, it's just lovely. So anyway, let's get started. To begin with, I'm going to come in with my Versamark ink, and I'm going to ink up the Blended Bloom stamp. And I'm using, for this particular technique on this card, I'm using Stampin' Up! Shimmery white cardstock. It's got it's got a coating on it, but it's got a beautiful shimmer to it, and the inks just blend great. But you could also use our Whisper white cardstock would work just as well. And so when I pull this up, you're not going to see it because it's Versamark, so it's just a clear sticky ink. I'm going to come in and add some white embossing powder on top of this. I'm going to kind of just let that get around my card there a little bit. Shake it off. Now I could have used the embossing buddy if I wanted to, but it looks like I don't have a whole lot of static on my card today, which is good. It works better for me in the summertime than in the winter when I've got the heater going on in here. Then I have a lot of static everywhere. But when it's nice out and summery out, I don't have as much static. So I'm going to go ahead and go heat set this. I will be right back. So I'm back, and as you can see, you still can't see much because I embossed that over the top with white embossing powder. And if you start looking at it from a side angle where you can see some light, if you see anything that's not shiny, then you know it's not embossed. I actually see a little spot right there, so I'm just going to hit that with the heat gun one more time. Okay, now we're ready to start. And this is like the easiest technique in the whole world. So you're just going to go ahead and use a couple of different colors of ink and some sponges. So I'm going to start out with Daffodil Delight and Pumpkin Pie, and I'm just going to ink up my sponge. I take one of our regular sponges that Stampin' Up! Has, and I quarter it. I actually add a little cardstock color with a staple to it so that I know that I always use this sponge and this ink. I know it's kind of awkward, but it's just how I am. And then you're just going to come in and sponge that color on there. And you can see how the color is pretty deep in the middle and then works its way out. And I'm going to do the same thing with the pumpkin, only this time I'm going to come from this side, the side of the stamp, and kind of just blend those colors in together all the way around. You can see how that image then starts to emerge. This is a great technique. It's a lot of fun, and it's very, especially with the white on white, the embossing on the white cardstock.
because it's fun to see what the image actually looks like. But you could do this sponging technique with any color embossing powder. You just want to make sure you get enough color in there. And then I'm actually going to come back in with a little more of the daffodil and just make sure I get those blended in well. Pull that color out. And then the last thing I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to come in with a little early espresso and an ink dauber. They're just one of our ink daubers for our fingers. And I'm just going to go right to the middle of this and bring some of that color out. And you get a beautiful card, a beautiful image, and it dries immediately. The last thing you'll want to do is come in with a Kleenex or a paper towel and just go ahead and wipe that off, because what happens is the ink does not stick to the embossing powder, and so when you wipe it off, then you won't get ink all over everything. And then again, this is one that's trimmed out, and like I like to trim out my cards, I like to go with just a little tiny edge on there all the way around, and you'll see that to make this an easy cut, I actually move the cardstock instead of the scissors. The scissors basically stay in the same spot. You just take that all the way around. Okay, so there's my image cut. It's ready to be mounted onto a card, and as you can see on here, I just mounted it onto another piece of paper pumpkin cardstock, added a little bit of a doily, and some more shimmery white cardstock that I put the greeting on, and I added this on actually with the dimensionals. I'll have a list of products on my website and the measurement instructions there too if you're interested. Just go ahead and click on the link. Otherwise, have a great day. Thank you.
Here you go. So let me shut this off. There we go. I'm back. Okay, so anyway, that was the technique with the embossed resist technique with the blended bloom stamp set. And you notice I used sponges and I used daubers, and it's a lot of fun. And I wanted to show you one of the things that I did this week. This was my newest organizational tool that I learned from another demonstrator. And it's actually a toolbox that I got at Home Depot. And it's a 60 drawer, just a little plastic clear drawer, 60 drawer little gizmo thing. It's in toolbox. It was at Home Depot, and I think it was only like $20, so it wasn't terribly expensive. But what I did is I took each drawer and I added it one of our colors. So there's 10 colors in a family, so each column is a family of colors, and then the last one over here is the in colors for Stampin' Up. But then each drawer, and not every one of them has everything in it, I'll tell you that right now. But I try to keep myself fairly organized. And so what I've done in each drawer is the re-inker to the color. This color happens to be eggplant, elegant eggplant. So the re-inker's in there. If I have a sponge that's attached to that color, and I actually do this, just because it just makes it easier to use my sponges, is I just take a sponge, I quarter it, and then I attach a little tab file to it. And it's stapled on there. I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually a staple that's on the sponge. And then that is always going to be put into the elegant eggplant ink, and so I don't have to worry about getting a yellow one and a green one and mixing up my colors. And so that goes in there. And then if I do have a sponge dauber that I used in that color, I go ahead and pop that in there too. But it's kind of nice because everything that coordinates with that old olive, hello, eggplant stays in that one drawer. And I'm telling you, I have been trying to find something for a long time. I mean, I had my refills in one area, my sponges in another area, just a big basket of sponges. So I was digging through them all the time. And then my sponge daubers in another little area. And it's nice to have combined them all down into one area where I know they're going to be, and it's going to be easy to get to. And I'll probably store them next to my ink pads. My friend is coming over tomorrow, and we are doing kind of an overhaul of my stamp room. So maybe by next week, this view back there will be totally different. I'm trying to figure out a better way to have my supplies. And so that's what I'm trying to do. If you have any questions during this whole thing, please feel free to ask. Don't be so shy. Everybody's so shy tonight. There's lots of, you know, you can ask me anything. And if I don't want to answer it, I'll just say no. So there you have it. So I do have another video, and I just have to figure out how to pop it up here quickly. And As soon as I find it. Oh, this was one. I'm doing an Operation Right Home. I don't know if you've heard of Operation Right Home, but it's an organization that makes cards for our troops and sends them to overseas to our troops so that they in turn can turn around and take the cards that we've made and send them back to their families. So it's birthdays, thinking of you, you know, have a nice day, congratulations. It's all those kinds of things. And our troops overseas love them. It's like a Hallmark store in a box that is put into their commissary or into their tent or wherever they have supplies. And they can just go in and take those cards, write on them, and send them home. And it's just a really fun organization. I've had a lot of fun making cards for it. Locally here, I do every other month, I do a card making event where we come together as a community and we make cards to send off to Operation Right Home. And so this card that I'm going to show you now is another card that I videotaped earlier. I haven't shown it on YouTube yet, but it's using our new, what Stampin' Up! Calls the masks. I would call them stencils. But, and it's, one of the things that we do at our card making event is we write a thank you to the troops. So we hand make a card, we write an actual thank you to a troop member, and those get sent in the box too, just to thank our troops for what they do for us and for our freedom. So I am going to quickly show that. If you have questions, like I said, don't hesitate. Please ask them. If you're commenting in the YouTube channel, I can't get to it until I am done with this broadcast, and then I will be able to, I'll be over there and answer some questions. But you can always do it on the Facebook page under virtual workshop. If you can always comment under there, because I can actually see those, I believe, at this point. So thank you, and here is the next video.
Hi Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and today I'm going to teach you how to make this card. I'm working on some projects for my Operation Right Home card making event next weekend, and I decided I wanted to use this new stencil from Stampin' Up! And so I'm just going to do a really quick video to show you how quick and simple this one is, and then to show you too that I decorated the inside of my card.
Oh gosh.
And what this is actually what they call an Any Hero card, which when people come to our event, they make a card such as this, and then they write a letter to a troop thanking them for their service to our country. And these actually just get tossed in the box with all the other cards. The other cards go for the troops to send home to their families, and these are actually cards that we send to them for thanking them for their service. So I'm just going to show you really quickly how this is done. To begin with, I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White cardstock. It is 4 by 5 1/4, and again, all the measurements and all the supplies I used today will be posted up on my blog, and I'll put a link into the video. So, and some real red cardstock, and I'm coming in. This is one of Stampin' Up! Stencils. They have new, or they're called masks. I call them stencils. This one comes together with the stars and the hearts, and they come in one pack. But you're just going to lay down your cardstock, lay your mask over the top of it, and then I'm coming in with a little sponge dauber and some real red ink. And that's all you need to do, is just... You could actually use a big sponge too, would work. Okay, so you just want to make sure you get all the stars that you want masked, and then pull this off. And to clean this off, I just have been using a wet paper towel, but you can actually run them under the sink too and get them very clean. But just a paper towel wipes them off and wipes them clean. And there you have it. There's your background piece for your card. Talk about easy, easy, easy. And so the next thing that I did is I cut one of the framelits from Apothecary Accents. I used this one here, and just cut a little image that I'm going to place on here. And then I cut another piece of cardstock. This actually is 2 3/4 by 1 1/4, and that mounts, as you can see, perfectly. It frames it out right in there. And I'm going to use a thank you stamp from Lots of Thanks. This is the stamp set. I like to use this one. I probably use this one just about every month in my hero thank you cards. So you're going to go ahead and ink this up. This time I'm inking it up in the Night of Navy. And stamping that down. I'm just going to set that aside because I don't know if that's totally completely dry and I don't want to smear it. But I want to show you quickly how I did the ribbon. So I took it on the back of my cardstock and I added just a little bit of snail, and then I brought in some of our new cotton ribbon. I love this stuff. It's great ribbon. It's really nice because it doesn't add a whole lot of bulk to a card. So I'm just going to pull that around the sides into that tape and then cut it off. And then I have another piece of Night of Navy cardstock that's, you know, it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Like I said, I'll put those measurements up on my website. I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the card front, and you'll see on here where I have the ribbon, I kind of go over it just a little bit more and kind of just make like a little ribbon sandwich between the adhesive. Layer this onto the front of my card. Probably the biggest concern with this card is that you might get lots of ink on your fingers, but so if you smudge it, I would just come in with a sponge and sponge it a little more. And then what I did is I took my little thank you stamp here in that frame and placed that on there. And then I came in with a couple of dimensionals. And I'm going to add those right to the back of this. And place that where I want it. Once I get that placed where I want it, then I'm going to come back in with just a little strip of the ribbon and slide it under there and tie a bow. And it's just a really easy way. It gives you a nice flat bow, and you can have that bow tied exactly where you want it on your card. Like that. Trim that up a little bit. And then, of course, add a little bling. Now, we can't put glitter on cards that we send over to the troops because if they get glitter all over them, then when they're out in the field, it could be dangerous at night. So we can send over things that have rhinestones on them, and I like to do that a lot just because it doesn't stick to everything. So there's a quick, easy card. And like I said, on this one here, I did the insides too by just putting the mask over the cardstock and then sponging the stars that I wanted to show. But there's a great card, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you haven't already done so, you should head on over to my website. Number one, you'll be able to see the supplies, but number two, you can sign up for my newsletter, which I send out some great tips, tricks, and techniques every week. So thank you, and you have a great day.
Okay, so there is, let me see how I get this to shut down. There is one of the last, or the other video that I wanted you to show, using the masks, as Stampin' Up! Calls them. Like I said, I call them stencils, but you know, everybody has their own way of doing things. So if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to stick around tonight a little bit longer on the Facebook page and see if anybody has any questions. You guys are being so quiet. There's a few of you out there, and I just cannot believe that nobody's making any kind of comment about anything. That's just kind of unusual. So I hope that you like this new way of doing things. I'm hoping that it worked great on people's iPads and their phones and their computers. That was the goal, was to try to get them to work on everything. I just ordered a brand new webcam over the weekend, and my son's going to help me. I think that we are going to go live with our demonstrations, and so I'll be demonstrating right there while you guys are asking questions. That probably will be next month's virtual club, I'm hoping. So if you don't have any more questions, I did have one more video I wanted to show, and it's really just a tips. It's a tips of how I'm storing my photopolymer stamps. This has been up on YouTube for a while, but you might be interested in learning some of the stuff that I've been doing with my photopolymer stamps, just to make it easy to work with them. Not that they're hard to work with, but they come in 2 pieces of like window sheet, and it's kind of hard to pull it apart. And anyway, so I've set them up in some of my stamp cases, the cases that they come in now, just so that you can see an easier way to deal with them. So I'm going to screen share again. Let's see how it works. Let's hope this one works fabulously. Hey Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about organization and some of the new highlights of the Stampin' Up! Catalog that's available on June 2nd. And so to begin with, I'm just going to show you quickly this Bravo set. This is one of Stampin' Up's newest photopolymer stamp sets, and one of the things you'll notice is that they now come in the boxes. And depending on how big the set is, it'll either come in one of the big boxes or one of our smaller size boxes. Most likely it'll come in a smaller one, but this happens to be a really big set. And you can't tell by the front of this how big these really are. They're pretty good sized stamps. And so our photopolymer stamps come in here. These were actually 3 sheets. I'm just going to show you this sheet without anything on it. I've got them all laid out here, but they come on these window sheets, and then the stamps go on them. And the stamps actually go on the back, because if you put them on the front, it's going to pull off the black, the printing on there. So one of the things that's a tip somebody gave me was to go ahead and use my box for my photopolymer sheets. And I don't know if you can see them in here, but I've got them all stuck to the sides of the box. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these sheets and a couple of glue dots. It doesn't need a whole lot, but it just needs enough to hold it inside the box there. So I'm going to put 2 glue dots. And the other thing I did is I added a piece of paper to the back of this, so that when these were slid in there, you could actually read what it said. It was kind of hard to read through the clear box. So if I just slide that in there and then glue dot it down, then you can see that my congratulations stamps, everything's kind of placed where it needs to be. And I can actually read what the font is. And then I know if there's a stamp missing, it's because I can read the word. Now this sheet I had to cut in half because they were too big for the actual box. But these will just slide down inside there too, and then all of my stamps will be organized. And these are great because they stick right to that, and I'm not yanking them off. So there's just a quick tip for the photopolymer stamps. The other thing I wanted to show you real quickly was with our photopolymer, sometimes if you use ink that's red, or this was actually Blackberry Bliss, one of our new ink colors, you can see it stained the stamp, but it doesn't affect it. I'm going to stamp it up here in Hello Honey, another one of our new ink colors, and you'll see that that stamp is pink, but when I stamp it in or ink it up into the Hello Honey and I stamp it, I get a good clean image in Hello Honey, and there's no pink involved. So they do get stained. That's just how they are. The other thing that Stampin' Up! Has done with our photopolymer stamps is they added more conditioner in there so that they will last longer. They won't get, sometimes after a few years, some of your photopolymer stamps get gummy. And I would just recommend, again, that you just keep them clean and out of sunlight, and they should last a long time. Photopolymer is fun because you can see where you're stamping. You can line it up easily. And you can also load up your blocks with several different stamps and then stamp. So a couple of tips. Oh, another little tip I wanted to give. I know I inked it up like this when I just inked it now, but I noticed the other night I had some issues with some customers inking, and I think it's just because of our new pads, they don't remember that you don't only have to tap lightly. They kind of get carried away and ink up. And I ended up with ink all over this block. And what I found was if you leave the photopolymer down and put the ink on top of it, then you're going to get it nice and evenly inked, and it's good to go. I don't know if you can actually see what I've stamped there on that, but I'm going to do another video, and I'll connect it to this one with a card using these 2 stamps, actually. And I hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't already done so, you may want to click on the link and sign up for my newsletter that comes every month. You'll get a free tutorial. Okay, so that's the end of that video. I can shut this part down because you guys are already on my newsletter. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And I hope that you learned something tonight. I hope you enjoyed the demonstrations. And like I've always said, thank you very much. Thank you to you guys. Here, I have to show you how I can do something. Thank you very much. My applause to you. You help me stay on top of things with Stampin' Up! And learning new things, and still having fun. So if nobody has any more questions, I will be checking here to make sure. For the photopolymer stamps, how did you get enough ink on them? You know, I really found that the photopolymer are easy to ink up, and especially with the Stampin' Up's new ink pads, the new foam ink pads that we have. They've been around for, I think this is the second year. But the photopolymer inks up really easy. And our new pads, you just have to very lightly tap, and the ink gets on there. The one thing that I have found, and I kind of mentioned that in the video, is that when people ink up a photopolymer stamp or any of our stamps now, if you push too deep or try to twist, we used to have to, you know, tap, 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 twist, twist, twist with our linen pads. If you push too deep, you're going to get so much ink on there, it's going to be all over the block, and then it may show up on your project. But really, one of the things that I've been doing is just flipping my stamp over and taking the pad to the top of it and just lightly tapping. But I've really found with our new foam pads that those photopolymer stamps are fairly easy to ink up. So I hope that answers your question, Lisa. It's really a matter of practice. Photopolymer takes just a little bit of getting used, like everything we do. It just takes a little bit of getting used to, a little bit of adjusting, and things work out pretty good. I was never really, I'll be honest, I'm a wood stamp person. I've loved my wood stamps, and I have always loved my wood stamps, but I'm beginning to like the photopolymer, and I noticed that lots of the stamp sets that I really liked in the new catalog were photopolymer. And they're okay. It's a little more difficult for me when I'm teaching a class and I've got everybody using them. It's a little more difficult to use. It's easier to just have stamps on wood, and everybody knows. With the clear stamps, if people are taking them off and on blocks, I'm always afraid they're going to get lost. And so that's one of the things I worry about. But anyway, thank you very much. If you haven't already gotten a catalog, everybody that's in my club should have gotten their new catalog. And if you haven't, please contact me, because I want to make sure that everybody has a hard copy, because it's a lot more fun to look at the catalog wherever you want to. But I like to mark mine up and check things off and all that stuff. So if you haven't gotten one, shoot me an email, and I will make sure you get one. And the tutorial for this month should have gone out to everybody that's placed an order so far. It was the birthday card candy. It's really cute. And then the extras were like baby shower stuff. So anyway, that is out, and I want to make sure that everybody gets it. So if you haven't gotten that, you feel free to email me. And you can email me during the month. Anytime you have a question, or pick up the phone and call me. I'm more than happy to help you out and answer all your questions. And if there's something specific that you want me to show, this would be the great time to do it, because I can just do it live. It'll be great when I'm demonstrating live, and I can just grab some materials and somebody can ask a question, and I can quick show you how to do something. So if nobody has any further questions, like I said, I will keep tabs on the Facebook page, and I'll keep tabs on the YouTube channel and answer questions there as they come up. Otherwise, thank you very much, and you guys have a great night. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.